Hello, everyone, and welcome to another installment of our CapeSpace Connection series. I'm your host, Haley Cote, and today I am so excited to have here with me music director and founder of the Cape Cod Chamber Orchestra, Matt Scinto. Matt, hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing well. Happy New Year. Happy New
Yes,
Year,
Happy New
everyone.
Year. Yes.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for being here. I'm psyched to talk to you. We've got a little collaboration coming up, which I'll get to a little
Yeah.
later in the conversation. But before I dive right on in, Matt, I got to admit to you, before I was introduced to you, I was actually unfamiliar with the orchestra. So I'm really excited to learn more and for the audience to learn more about you guys.
Yeah, so we're a pretty new group. We started our performance series in 2018, which
Mhm.
was really not that long ago, and
Right.
especially now with COVID changing our performance schedule and moving things virtually. Actually, those concerts seem really long ago now, but yeah, we started out. We had our first concert in April of 2018, and since
Mhm.
then, we launched a concert series mostly based in Harwichport. We perform at Pilgrim Church, but this season, being all virtual, we've been doing virtual events at different locations
Mhm.
around Cape Cod, and like this one coming up at CapeSpace next weekend, which we'll talk a little more about. But we are a professional chamber orchestra. I conduct the group. I also do a lot of administrative group work as well, and
Mhm.
we're all artist run for the
Mhm.
time being. So a lot of our musicians do administrative work as well, in addition to what I'm doing and conducting and playing. So this
Mhm.
is honestly the life of a musician now. We don't just necessarily show up, play our notes, and go home.
Mhm.
There's a lot more that goes into not only marketing ourselves, but becoming more business savvy, being savvy at
Mhm.
social media, getting classical music in front of new audiences is always a challenge. And we have to work and adapt with the times we're living in to present music that's often 300 or so years old
Mhm.
sometimes, in the case of a composer like Bach or
Mhm.
someone like that.
Mhm.
So it's about reaching a modern audience with music that was composed oftentimes a very long time ago. That's
Mhm.
kind of our goal. So we
Mhm.
do perform a lot of older pieces of classical music, but we do a lot of contemporary music, which means music that's written maybe this year. So we have
Mhm.
a composer program.
Mhm.
Every year we offer to a different composer. He or she will work with the orchestra and work with different organizations, and we
Mhm.
will write collaboratively a new piece of music to be premiered and performed for an audience. So we've done projects with the Wida Pirate Museum. That was a
Mhm.
really cool collaboration.
Oh, I
Something
bet.
that you would something that you would not necessarily think an orchestra and a pirate museum could work together, but it was
Mhm.
it was a lot of fun, and we found a
Uh-huh.
way to do it.
Mhm.
Um, the Edward Gorey House was another concert we did, which is kind of like a hidden gem museum, kind of a
Mhm.
cult, illustrator
Mhm.
phenomenon in Edward Gorey, who lived in
Mhm.
lived in Yarmouthport. We did a collaboration with them. We've done a
Mhm.
collaboration with the Harwich Guild of Artists. So um, this is kind of our primary mission, is to find organizations on Cape Cod, work with them, and present music that is new and old. And we've been doing that for the past couple of years now. And this season we had a whole year, 5 or 6 performances scheduled for in person, and
Mhm.
we had to go back to the drawing board pretty much this summer and figure out how we were going to do virtual programs.
Mhm.
And due to size restrictions and social distancing, we basically had to get rid of all of our season plans. We could not perform any of the music we had scheduled because it requires musicians to be close to one another like normal, and
Mhm.
requires wind instruments and just more musicians to perform. We usually have about 25 to 30 um, musicians in our group, and this season's more like 10 to 15. So we're doing
Mhm.
lots of smaller programs. Fortunately, we're still able to get together and record concerts virtually. So we've done two, both at the Yarmouth New Church Preservation, which is in Yarmouthport. It's a beautiful historic space. They're celebrating their 150th anniversary this year. We did two programs there. We have another program scheduled to record the end of this month in January. I can't say where or what that is yet. We're still unveiling that, but it's a very cool collaboration. I'm excited to announce, so stay tuned. And then we're doing virtual concerts like this one at CapeSpace, which we'll have coming up next weekend. And then we also have a residency at Steeple Street Music Academy, which is also in the music, also in the Mashpee Commons, where I teach. And we're doing a virtual performance series there with, one or two musicians at a time, just to, adhere to guidelines, keep the musicians safe. No live audience, unfortunately, for any of these events. So adapting to that's been kind of weird. The thing about classical music, if you're not familiar, is for performers and for the music to really work and to leave a lasting impact on people, like you really need to be present in the room. I mean, these are acoustic instruments, right? These are not electronic instruments. We're not like hooked up to an amplifier. Like when you play the violin, you are literally playing a box of wood, and that is hard to reproduce digitally. It's really, I mean, we're very good now. Sound engineers, wow, best in the world that are working nowadays, but it's still really hard to replicate what it's like to play in an acoustic space for a live audience. And also for the musicians, it's tough not playing for an audience. I mean, imagine being, trying to play and not having the audience feedback, because they really add. I mean, if you go to a rock and roll concert, imagine going to a rock and roll concert, not having people jumping up and down, like that there's an atmosphere, and that's why we like live music. Well, it's a similar sort of vibe. People aren't jumping up and down and, performance of Beethoven. Maybe they should be, but still there's an interaction there. I mean, there's a sense of energy in the room with having people around. So that's been really probably the hardest thing for COVID, for myself and our musicians, but we're figuring it out, finding a way. And I think that's a good overview for our group. We're still moving along, still trying to do programming in ways we can and keep our musicians busy as much as possible right now.
So Matt, I bet this kind of leads into my next question. So I assume this was kind of the impetus for you to want to form the chamber, introducing people to classical music and kind of broadening the awareness of it. Why is that so important to you, and what kind of value do you see in classical music?
Well, I think the reason why people become musicians is because we have these experiences with art, and they better our lives, they better ourselves. I feel that music is always something I turn to, if I'm dealing with a variety of problems and stresses in my life. It's always been something I could fall on. And it puts people that meditate understand this concept of being in the moment, something that, I think nowadays is very contemporary. We always talk about be spontaneous, be in the moment, don't be in your head, because we all have anxiety and all sorts of things. Music helps us focus. It gives us this story that is unfolded through sound that we can listen to and relate to our own life and follow along and bring in past experiences and things too. And we use it to forget things. We use it to forgive. We use it to really move on past things and also develop like our own inner critical thinking. I mean, it's like a big mindfulness exercise to me, listening to classical music, because that's all you could do with it. I mean, it's literally sound up all around you. It's a very strange phenomenon, like at least when you look at a painting, you have something tangible in front of you, right? You say, okay, there's the boat and the waves and the trees. Okay. Literature, you're reading a book. You read about stories that's tangible. You can envision the characters and things. When you listen to an instrumental piece of music by, let's say Mozart, none of that's there. I mean, there is like a logic to it. And there's a narrative that I think if you listen to more and more classical music, you can start to develop, but you can't like reach out and grab it
Mm.
Everyone has a slightly different experience of it, but in the end, for everyone, it helps kind of center our lives. So
Mm.
that's why musicians do what they do. It's not, to live a luxurious life by any means, but it makes us like better, happier individuals for the most part. And that's what you can gain from listening to classical music. If you can get over that hump of like the overwhelming nature of it, because I think that's unfortunately why it's really tough to get new people interested in this music, because there's no words often. If there is, like an opera, it's probably in Italian or German. So that's kind of like, rough territory for most people, myself too. And there's just like so much music. It's like, where do you start? So that's why with our group, I try to introduce our audiences to familiar pieces, and also pieces that they may not have ever heard of, and by composers that they may not have ever heard of, to kind of like spark this interest and appreciation of it. And it does. I mean, it will help your life. It will, even if you put stuff on in the background, like find some classical music playlist on Spotify, start there. I mean, there's a lot available online now. If anything, there's more classical music available to us than any time in history. You can go on YouTube and listen for hours, go on Spotify, listen for hours, so it's helped me personally. And that's why I do music. And I think for our listeners, that's what I would like to translate also. I mean, just because I have, like a doctoral degree in music doesn't mean that someone like yourself can't understand the music I'm listening to. We really all have the capacity to do it, but it's often a tough hurdle to get over.
Right. Which is why I think it's so wonderful that you guys are, really getting out in the community, collaborating. I know that's a big thing with you guys, being collaborative and partnering with different organizations to make it more approachable.
And I think it's the only way that, what we do is going to survive for like another 100 years. We can't live in the bubble and expect people to come to the concert because, we're performing Beethoven. It's like, no one really cares. Like no one really understands what it can offer until you have that experience where like you're really honed in, and, you listen to a piece of music and you go, wow, that like really moved me in a way that, and then it's like you catch the bug, and then I think from there you become more interested. But yeah, I like to go to places and expose people to music that often wouldn't have that opportunity, because they don't want to spend $100 on a concert ticket to go see something that they have no idea what they're going to expect. Like at least when you want to spend money to go see a movie, you can watch the trailer, okay? And you kind of have a sense of like, yeah, this is worth my time.
Right.
Oftentimes it's for a traditional concert, it's not always the case. It's a tough investment for people, and it's also very costly. So we always try to keep our ticket prices down as low as I can, and offer, we offer free tickets for students under the age of 18, always. So families can like bring their kids and not have to be burdened by, a lot of costs. So, and our virtual concerts this season are all available for free, because I don't want to paywall these things. We have fortunately supporters and donors and sponsors and folks that have been helping us this season. But I don't want to prevent someone from being able to, have an experience online, and have to pay like $25 for a ticket, and that be the entry. So, so that's been part of our philosophy going forward.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's wonderful. So this virtual concert that we're doing together, which I'm so excited about. So this is happening Saturday, January 16th at 2 p.m. This is going to be a live stream event on the CapeSpace Facebook page. But Matt, can you tell me a little bit about what people can expect from this?
Yeah, so we're I'm so happy to have one of our violinists, Emma Powell, perform for everyone. She is stellar, amazing musician, wonderful person. She'll introduce the different pieces that she's going to play and perform solo works for violin, which honestly is something that for our orchestra we don't do ever, because we always play as a group. right? Like
Right.
it's this season's really about spotlighting, our musicians in a way. So I'm glad, Emma is able to perform and perform some solo works that she probably also wouldn't really have the opportunity to do because she plays in chamber groups and other orchestras. She's part of the Newport String Project in Newport, Rhode Island. She plays in the Newport String Quartet there. It's her new job this year. So she does a lot of chamber work. So I'm glad we can give her the opportunity to, perform and do solo work. So she's going to play music by J.S. Bach. Bach is one of the most famous composers ever. I think people that know nothing about classical music probably know the names Bach, Mozart, and Beethoven. Maybe because they watch like Mozart in the Jungle and stuff like that, these famous depictions and shows, or they've seen Amadeus, the movie and things like that. So Bach wrote a lot of solo works for violin throughout his life. He was an organist. He actually, believe it or not, he's a very household name now, but during his lifetime was not a famous composer whatsoever. It wasn't until upwards of 100 years or so after his death in which he became very popular. And pieces like these violin partitas, which are solo works, dance pieces. No one's really dancing, but that's the form for violin were kind of like unearthed. And now they're performed all the time. Violinists learn these pieces. I'm a viola player, so I learn actually when we play Bach, we play cello suites, believe it or not. So it's like pieces that are written for cello, the big string instrument. They have to sit down and play. Bach didn't write anything for viola, so what they did over time was transcribe. They took the cello pieces, made them able to be performed on viola. So that's what we play. So like usually every instrument plays Bach. Even saxophone players will play Bach. I mean, this is an instrument that was invented like hundreds of years later, but his music is really educational if you're learning an instrument. Those of you that maybe played violin or piano probably played pieces of Bach growing up. So Emma will perform one of his partitas for us, which is good. It's an older piece. I mean, this is music that was written in the Baroque era, which is like between 1685 or 1750 or Bach dates. So it's old music, but it's still very compelling and fun and has a lot of life to it, certainly. In contrast, she'll also perform music by the Argentinian composer Astor Piazzolla. Piazzolla was a tango guy. He wrote a lot of pieces, not for like orchestra per se, but for tango band. He was someone that would play in a band till 3 a.m. and then like come home and then take like serious composition lessons and learn how to write score for various instruments. So he lived this kind of dual life. And what we get are pieces for violin and flute, oftentimes guitar, accordion, these kind of traditional instruments, and fun tango pieces that are from Argentina. So it's definitely a great contrast from music written far earlier by a very different man than Bach. And then she'll also perform a piece by Kenji Bunch, who is a contemporary composer. Writes music for orchestra, and so we'll have like a whole kind of very diverse program. Music that's old, music that's a little newer, and then music that's like maybe written in the last 10 years or so. So yeah, it should be fun. I'm looking forward to that. It'll be about probably a 30-40 minute program. With the virtual space, we kind of learned that it's not worth like doing a super long program. It's better for people, especially tuning in live, to just listen for 20-30 minutes and and have a good time, get a drink, whatever it is, coffee. I mean, you can watch it at any time. It'll be up I'm sure on the page for some time afterwards. But if you want to catch it live, it will be at 2 p.m. as Haley said, and I'll be in the comments section if anyone has questions. We'll take some time. Emma will take some time afterwards, because people always want to know, like, okay, what instrument you playing on? Like, where's your violin from? Where did you study? those types of things. So we're happy to answer those questions. So you can leave them in the comments as we do the live stream. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. And the space is really
exciting.
Cool. I highly doubt the CapeSpace has had like any type of classical music played in their location before. So hopefully not the last time. So
right. Yeah, absolutely. I know. It's so exciting to be able to do something like this at CapeSpace, you know.
Yeah. Well, that's part of our chamber orchestra. We like to fit into small places, you know, and we can do that right now. So it's great.
Awesome. Well, Matt, before I let you go, is there anything else you want to share with the audience? Maybe anything to look forward to in the future with the orchestra? Or
yeah, I would. If you want to stay updated with the chamber orchestra, I would definitely go to our website, CapeCodChamberOrchestra.org. You can subscribe to our newsletter. We send stuff out periodically, you know, updating us with current events. We do have a lot of virtual events scheduled for this year. I can say that now. We're finally in 2021. You can also watch our last virtual concert, which was recorded and premiered on December 9th. That's still available through the end of this month of January. You can check that out directly on our website. We also have a YouTube channel with, if you just search Cape Cod Chamber Orchestra on YouTube, you can find it. We have a lot of performances over the past couple of years that we've been updating this season. Stuff that, you know, wasn't available before. We've started releasing more things online, and definitely follow us on Facebook and Instagram with the same handle. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this event. Hope to see you all there online.
Yes, I know. Again, so Saturday, January 16th at 2 p.m. CapeSpace Facebook page. It's gonna be fun. I've always been someone who's never looked at classical music as exciting, but the way you were describing, this is gonna be exciing for sure.
Oh, I'm glad.
It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Already.
Yeah. Already started to convert me. So
that's right. You're right. The beginning was happening.
Well, Matt, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you all for watching, and we'll see you again next time.